I am so happy that you're able to join us for this extended interview. Make sure to visit theoffbeatlife.com. Again, that's theoffbeatlife.com to get more killer resources. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this extended interview with Sierra, where she's going to share how to use your time efficiently as a freelancer. Hey Sierra.
Hey Debbie.
So Sierra, how do you structure your weeks to be more efficient?
Okay, so this is something that I'm working on right now because obviously this whole freelance thing is new to me in some capacity. Like I've been doing freelance work for a long time, but in terms of doing it full time, what I'm finding is that what really helps is kind of blocking off certain days for certain tasks. So like one day you work on only your blog stuff. The next day you work on only social media stuff like scheduling and all kinds of engagement and stuff like that. The next day you work on like your virtual assistant stuff or whatever. Obviously some of these tasks need to be done every single day. So you can't necessarily just block off a day for only one thing, but I think it's really helpful to sort of have that routine so that you're not constantly bouncing from task to task to task, which is what I have been doing so far. And it just does, it's not productive because you feel like you're never doing enough and you're never getting one thing done. You're just like partially doing a million things. So I think blocking off time is really, really helpful. And just having a routine, like getting up at the same time every day, even if you don't have to go and commute into work, making sure you get dressed, making sure you take a shower, making sure you eat breakfast early. And also stopping work at a certain time, like even if you're going to keep working while you're watching Netflix or whatever, just having that sort of mental break. Okay, now it's dinner time, not going to work anymore. It's 5, whatever time you want to stop working. So yeah, I would say routine and like blocking off time, blocking off days is really helpful.
You also work while you watch Netflix?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And if you listen to the podcast, you would know what I'm watching on Netflix because I talk a lot about it.
I do that too. I usually put on a movie or a show that I've already watched over and over again so that I don't feel like I'm missing out on something. But I like the background noise because it gets really lonely when you're on your own and there's nothing. And honestly, I'm more entertained with visual than just music outright.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I always have music on when I'm working. Like I can't just work in complete silence. But I find, especially at night when I'm starting to get tired, it really helps to have some like visual stimulation. And also, especially if you're doing like tedious tasks that aren't really that interesting, then it really helps to have some entertainment on.
Yeah, so I'm not the only weird person who does this. That's why Sierra and I get along. What are some tools and programs you use to be more organized?
So I made a list so I don't forget any, and I probably will still forget some. But okay, so one that I really, really like is called Trello. If you've used it, you know what it is. But basically you can set up different boards, create different lists and like tasks so that you can keep everything separated and like color coded, which obviously for a planner is really exciting. So I really like Trello. Trello is also free. I believe it's free all the way up to whenever you want to use it. I don't think you have to pay for anything. Slack is really helpful for like communicating with clients sometimes. It's good for doing calls. It's good for just like pinging ideas back and forth. So I would say Slack is good. Google spreadsheets are my personal heaven. I love them. And just Google Drive, like keeping everything in one place is really nice. Being able to access it anywhere. I use Lightroom for photo organization. So for my own like personal blog stuff, I use Lightroom a lot. I do a lot of desktop organizing. So just folders on folders on folders and folders within folders, just real organized. I use Tailwind for Pinterest scheduling, which a lot of people do. And then I just use like the Notes app on my phone or on my laptop to kind of collect ideas, and then I'll put them into a more permanent place like a spreadsheet or Trello or whatever I'm using in order to keep them more organized.
Those are really good programs that you have there. I have used Trello and it's pretty great. And I'm going to check out those other ones as well. How do you stay motivated when you feel overwhelmed?
So this is one that I think I'm kind of ever evolving and like finding new ways to cope with stress and overwhelm with. But I would say that one of my number one things is to take a break. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed and anxious about like all the stuff you have to do and you feel like you just aren't making any progress, just take a break, get out of your own space, take a walk around. If you can, go outside, get some fresh air, or just like put on some music, dance around your house or your apartment or whatever, and just like get your body moving a little bit so that you have some sort of physical like stress reliever, and then come back to it later. That's huge for me. And another thing that I really love to do is, I think I mentioned this on the podcast episode too, checking off small tasks. So even if it seems insignificant, having a list of everything you need to get done, and even if it's the little itty bitty things like wash your hair, prep your food for lunch, like whatever it is, just having a lot of stuff that you can check off makes you feel really productive. And it also just reminds you of like all the stuff you're doing every day. Because even if it's not huge tasks that you feel like are really impressive, I think it's really important to recognize that you're like doing all these little things all day long, and that's important. Like you're doing day-to-day life stuff, you're calling and paying bills, you're doing all kinds of things. Like you have to do that when you're working from home while you're also working. So I think kind of having a big task list and then checking things off as you go really motivates me personally, because I see things getting done and I want to do more.
Yeah, those are more encouraging when you see that they're getting done, and especially when there's so much to get done, it can get really overwhelming. And then once you start checking them off one by one, it feels really good.
It does. And I actually forgot to mention my favorite app for to-do lists, which is called To Do, but it's not spelled to do. It's spelled TEUXDEUX, I think, which is like the hipster spelling of to do apparently. And it's just a really nicely designed, like very, very simple app where you can just like cross things off with your finger when you get them done, just type things in all over the place. You can color code stuff, whatever. But if you like don't get certain tasks done one day, it'll push them to the next day, etc. It's great. I love it so much. And it helps me keep track of stuff a lot easier.
I love how Sierra is so organized, because this is so new to me. I'm not organized at all. That's why Sierra is working with me, because she keeps my life organized.
I'm trying, girl. I'm trying. No, I think organization it comes more naturally to others than sometimes. But honestly, like I'm disorganized in so many ways in my own life. Like my room is a mess right now, not even letting Debbie see my room. So let's just keep things into perspective. Yes, I'm organized in a lot of ways, but in other ways, I can use some work. And when you're overwhelmed and you have a lot going on, sometimes your room or your kitchen or whatever like falls by the wayside and you're just like, oh, I'm a mess.
Well, you have to prioritize what's important to you, right? And sometimes other things gets put in the back burner when other things are more important, like making money so you can live and eat.
And pay your bills and your rent and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sierra, for sharing all of these incredible things with me, incredible knowledge. And I can't wait to see what else you're going to be up to. So if our listeners want to know more about you, where can they find you?
So passportvoyager.com and Passport Voyager on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, all the places. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
It makes it so much more easier for us to find you. And you're really lucky to find all of the Passport Voyager names not being taken by anyone yet.
Seriously, yeah, that was the first thing I did. And actually, I have to shout out my friend Halsey because she helped come up with the name. She basically came up with my blog name because I just couldn't handle going through and brainstorming any more travel blog names. So Yeah, shout out to her. Pages of Travel. If you ever want an adorable like couples travel blog, that's where you should go.
That's a great shout out. Thank you, Sierra. And thank you for having me in your lovely home and letting me eat your banana bread and wonderful dinner.
You are welcome. Anytime. Anytime.
That's dangerous to say. I hope you enjoyed this extended interview with Sierra. Make sure to visit theoffbeatlife.com. Again, that's theoffbeatlife.com to check out Sierra's full episode where she shares how to use the right skills to market as a virtual assistant. Hey Offbeat family, I really appreciate you listening to this episode. I would love to hear more from you and what you think of the podcast. Suggestions on guests, topics we can discuss, or maybe you just want to be friends. Why don't we chat some more on Facebook at The OB Life or send me a message at hello@theoffbeatlife.com. I can't wait to hear from you.